Yeah, welcome very, very much to Conversation. It's a pleasure to welcome to the program Jerome Johnson. Jerome Johnson's a hero of the world, and he's a man who wants to be paid. We should be paying a great deal of attention to, particularly the citizens here in New York City. He is, and we're going to be talking somewhat about it, but there are other issues we might go focusing on that are more that he's interested in at the moment. But he's a pioneer solar energy person, and his name is Jerome Johnson. Jerome, we've done programming in the past. Welcome very, very much to Conversation. It's really good to see you. You're looking good.
Well, it's the new lighting.
New lighting, okay, good.
LEDs are the new thing.
Yeah.
I pioneered quartz iodine.
I remember, yeah, you were a pioneer in lighting, yeah, and video and that sort of thing, yeah.
The company I ran developed the big silver North Light, which were the silver umbrellas.
Yeah, they were everywhere.
They were used for the...
Well, he's got a picture of Lyndon Johnson when he was president, is that?
Yeah, we did the lighting on that.
You did the lighting on that shoot?
Arnold Newman, I designed the equipment for and went down to Washington with him. I didn't take the pictures, Arnold Newman did. And this was given to me by the White House.
Wow, that's really something.
So it was a gift.
Yeah, you were involved in that, and then, okay.
And
he has some displays here he's going to show, so let's go.
This would be a perfect example of all the different ads that were taken when we were making advertising the silver umbrellas, which were called Reflector, and the systems were called Northlight, and the Northlight I designed and installed in the East Room of the White House.
Wow.
I was 35 years old then.
Yeah.
I was even younger when I ended up photographing. That's Indira Gandhi.
Indira Gandhi. No,
yeah, at the embassy in Washington. I was invited there, and with the umbrellas, which was the very first time that we were using the silver umbrellas.
I see. So you have engineering skills and so forth. Did you have part of that in your growing up? Be an engineer, would you count yourself?
That's my background.
Yeah, right.
I'm an engineer, but I went and I specialized more in lighting.
In lighting, good. Thank you. We have a great debt of gratitude to you
Here
in television.
Again, more of the ads. And in turn,
this goes back. What year you're talking now?
I'm talking about 1950 until 1960.
1950. That's way back. Yeah, that was just getting back when the television industry was really coming on strong, as they say. Now, what do we got here? We got
this is the
overlay on it.
The first ad that was placed. And it happens to be in your program years ago. You interviewed me about how it was invented.
I remember.
And I told you about the little girl that was on the floor crawling, and in order for the illumination to cover her well, I created that umbrella, which is a huge reflector compared to the ordinary ones.
That was a breakthrough, right?
That was the breakthrough.
And it's been picked up by the industry writ large, huh?
Yes.
Movie and television.
Well, as I developed the equipment, we were the ones who broke the movie industry wide open.
Good for you.
They were not location oriented with equipment like I had developed. And I and my company developed equipment that, as I said, went to the White House in our major movies. But this is an example, and I'm quite proud of it. This was that little baby that I'm talking about. Now, grown up.
I do remember sort of, when we did a program some years back, you and I, Now, here's a picture of her. I think you're partial to kitties, aren't you? Look at that. Let's see if we can get it straight on. Look at that. That's the little girl, right?
Yeah.
What is she, about 5 years old?
She's around that. Her name was Louise Johnson.
Gorgeous.
And she became, the focal point of the company.
Right.
Because I didn't have to go looking for a model. I had a daughter.
You had the model, right. Yeah.
And so my whole feelings were at my age, as I leave this great place called America, that I wanted to end up getting some documentation of history.
Absolutely. You have a whole lot of it up in your house, and we want to talk about that and the preserving of that for posterity and for the world at large. Yeah.
Now, a lot of my clients at the trade shows, because I traveled the whole Northeast corridor to Chicago, upstate Washington, D.C., promoting the silver umbrellas. And then to California with the lighting. It was major.
Yeah.
It went to a major point and then it died.
Major point and then it died. Why did it die,
Divorce.
do you think? Pardon?
Divorce.
A divorce personally with yourself, you mean, with your wife? And,
And when
okay,
you go
I'm
through-
not aware of that. Yeah.
When you go through a lot of emotion,
Yeah.
you can't be focused entirely on the work and the excitement of working with people,
That's interesting.
wanting to travel.
Interesting.
So you start pulling back on what you're doing.
Pulling back on taking risk, maybe?
Well,
Or
when you're in the
pushing
business,
envelope, as
when
they
you're
say?
in the business world,
Yeah.
you're always interacting with the clients
Yeah.
who have ideas, and they'll tell you, "Could you do this? Can you do that?"
Yeah.
Normally, me at least compared to other people,
Yeah.
it always was, let me listen to you, talk. I'll always find an hour and a half for a client
Yeah.
because they were exciting to start with.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And when you're interacting with them, you can make a decision as to whether or not you think you've got background. And if you do, as in my case, I would always tell them, give me a day or two to think it through.
Yeah.
And then I would end up tinkering, putting an idea together, a prototype, a sample, and at some point it would be workable, a workable product. You give it to them, say, go out and use it.
Would you think of yourself as entrepreneurial? That would be people who develop
Well, that's what
and
you were
actually get
called.
things done. You know?
Well, that was what we were called, but
Yeah.
I never saw that, no more than I would think of myself as an expert.
Okay.
When I was at the White House and at the National Cathedral, I don't think people are geniuses. I think they literally grow into a certain environment with a reputation. So when I started out with electronic equipment
Yeah.
and 4,000 volt, I was only too happy that I had my imagination taking me into other areas because 4,000 volts is death. And you don't want to
I'm
be
not
working.
familiar. It sounds awfully powerful.
Well,
yeah,
when
I
you're
don't know
working-
anything
yeah.
about it. Yeah.
And when you're working with equipment, and if you're every day going in with new problems like a marriage,
Yeah.
you're not focusing very well on equipment.
Okay, you got other things on your mind. Yeah, right.
And
yeah,
so it
yeah.
became a little bit dangerous doing repairs and building 4,000 volt equipment that's lethal.
When you were really thinking about your lady fit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
well,
so
that's a.
when the ideas came with the baby being born and taking the umbrella and covering it with the foil,
Yeah.
and then developing again and again and again to perfection, and the reflector was becoming then a major
Yeah,
tool.
right, all over the world.
It
really,
just wasn't
it
a-
went to the world, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The world of film
Vietnam,
and television.
in Vietnam, they had our
Yeah,
equipment.
right,
In the embassy there, they had our equipment. In Denmark, I shipped them a load of equipment. It was exciting.
How many did you had in your corner? Were you working? Were you doing a business? You were doing a
It was
business.
a
Were you
regular
running a
firm.
business and you had to write invoices and keep track of things?
Oh,
and
I found-
accounting and all that kind of
I
stuff. Could you
found-
handle that? Okay.
Well, the wife was doing the paperwork and the accounting, and I was doing the writing and the advertising and the closing.
And also the inventing, if I'm not
Oh, yeah.
mistaken. You were an inventor,
Well, that's
and
what
you
you're
were
doing.
a tinkerer or something. You were coming up with new things. You were an inventor.
Well, that's because people
Yeah.
give you ideas.
Yeah, yeah.
People are
you
not the
Yeah,
geniuses.
but it's not only the people. It's also yourself. You had some talent that was yours, my friend. Right? You're a major citizen of
I think
Spaceship
your
Earth.
talent comes from the way you're brought up.
Okay, well, that's another issue involved. Yeah.
You know, if you think as an attorney, it usually is because, and you're thinking in detail,
Yeah.
you know, good, bad, wrong, right, how you
Yeah,
could do something or not. It comes from an environment. If you have people that in the business world a great deal, they're always thinking that way. If
Yeah.
you're dealing with people that are always building things, your environment
that's
is
an
always.
engineering environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And you come from that.
I'm coming from that environment where my dad and family and neighbors were making things.
Yeah.
You know,
That worked, yeah.
fixing the sidewalk or a piece of machinery.
Actually getting something done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe like Mr. Edison, would you have had some
Well,
sense of, I mean, he really changed the world in a big way, didn't he? You know,
I told.
Mr. Ford.
Yeah, well, guess what? I found 3 days ago, going
Yes, sir.
through all the boxes,
Uh-huh.
an actual Edison bulb.
Really? Is it still burning? Is it DC
Yeah.
or AC?
No. It works either way.
Yeah.
And I've got the bulb and a special device that was made for dimming it. And I can't believe this. I can't believe
You
it.
got that in your house?
Yeah.
Your house is a museum, sir, of great national import. We got to make sure that that stays that way and so forth. And so anyway, and you're also, you became, when did you get interested in solar energy? Solar energy.
With the invention of the food cooker.
Okay,
which
you had a
was-
food cooker, right? Okay, yeah.
It was the silver umbrellas
Yeah.
that went to Mount Everest with Sir Hillary.
No kidding. Yours?
Yeah.
You're what an
I was the
honor.
only man doing this
Yeah.
years ago.
That was a way in concentrating the rays of the sun to get heat to
No,
maybe
it was originally used for bouncing sunlight to open up the shadows. That's what the silver reflectors
open up the
were.
shadows of what? For a photograph, you mean, or no?
If you got the sunlight coming down
Yeah.
and it's coming from over here,
You're talking about up on Mount Everest?
it could be
Anyway.
here
okay.
at
Yeah.
Brighton Beach.
Okay, yeah.
It's as long as you got light and you're using it in a certain way, you need to open up a shadow area. You reflect.
Oh,
Yeah.
like a shade. Yeah, we have shade. Yeah, all right. A sun.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So therefore,
Right.
the silver umbrella is being big
Yeah.
and collapsible and light in weight.
Yeah, right.
With a new tool
Yeah.
instead of big pieces of cardboard
Right.
with aluminum foil.
Particularly if you're walking up 28,000 feet.
Yeah.
You
So
want
they,
something that's
so they
pretty,
they backpacked them.
that's doing more with less.
Well, that
It's
was
through
always
good
been,
design. That's Bucky Fuller.
that's what solar energy is all about.
Thank
more
you.
with
I think,
less.
You think so? That's important, yeah. It's an important lesson. Apparently, we're going to have to learn in the time ahead. But yeah.
I doubt you people will.
Well, okay. Well, I'm sort of
doubt
counting
it.
myself as you and my people because we're both got some years behind us now. So
I've got the years, which means I've got experience,
Yes.
the good and the bad. The mistakes you correct. And
Okay.
the problem in our society is that when you're yesterday, you're not important. It's only, what are you going to do tomorrow?
You think that's true?
Oh,
you
yeah.
think it's true? Well,
I
wait a
don't
minute.
think it.
That's
I
in the
don't think
business
it.
world. They're always looking
And
for some
in
winner.
the
thing.
politics.
And politics. too.
Politics is
I don't
based
sup-
on
Yeah.
buying the right person to get the right thing done.
Major thing motivating human society is money, do you think?
Yeah.
Well, without a doubt. And 99% of the whole understanding of the operation of human society is money? Or what percent? And what else? There's love and inspiration and all kinds of other kinds
The
of things.
few people,
Empathy and things.
the few people that are creative in the world
Creative, yeah.
often are due to the emotion of being upset in certain areas, so they focus in the pleasant areas and they try to put together words,
That's
which might be a music,
Yeah.
it might be a letter that's 4 or 8 pages long,
Yeah.
it might become then a book, not a book, but an essay. And I find looking at my writing,
Yes.
I've already got about probably 7,000 or 8,000 pages of data,
Really?
broken down in different topic areas, already in bound binders.
Do they relate one to the other as a
No,
whole?
they're all isolated.
They're
So
isolated.
everything
Okay,
about
yeah.
the lighting
Yeah.
field
Yeah, right. Okay. Uh-huh.
and the people I interacted with,
Yeah.
like Indira Gandhi.
Is it
when I-
like a diary?
No,
No, not a diary.
it's looking at all the interaction that was going on,
Okay,
the
yeah.
letters,
Uh-huh.
and when you start
More
looking
important,
at
yeah.
them
Mhm.
in a sequence, you realize you got a history of a
Yeah,
life.
yeah, right.
It's not a
right.
diary about my
Yeah.
emotion. It's the very reason I'm writing a letter to you, and I happen to find it years later, and I'm reading it.
Is everything you've got in this history and this amazing life you've led, is it contained in your house out in Brooklyn?
It's in the house. And
That
the
house
being
is a
sealed.
treasure. That house is
Yeah,
a
but it's
treasure,
being
sir.
seized.
Now, I know. That's what we want to get to that, among other things, right?
This is an example.
But that, and you ought to be in the public eye. Okay. That from what year would that be? That was
This
probably
is
about
1908.
19. I was going to guess about 1968.
Okay,
I'm making a joke.
I can imagine.
I'm trying to.
The point that I've got is that I found about 8 or 10 of these.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about what I'm holding.
Yeah.
I've got the originals I
Yeah.
brought with me.
Wow, yeah.
The paper's already falling apart and
Yeah,
breaking.
I know.
So we're talking about things that were done a long time ago,
Yeah.
which were given to me by my grandfather or my father.
Yeah.
In turn, they were just neatly put in drawers,
Yeah.
in file cabinets, knowing, oh, one day I'm going to have the pleasure of putting them on the wall,
Right.
giving them to my children.
Right.
And it never came until here I am now emptying a house, and I'm frightened because I don't believe I'm going to get everything out. I don't believe I will.
Okay, we got to get on to that. That's the main reason that we're here now. And I want to get a word in for this is incredible what you've done. This is just not even the cherry on top of the cake of your life, but it's a great example of what you've done collectively. And among other things, you've got involved not only in lighting but also in solar energy, because your house is a museum of early use of solar energy and living with nature.
Let me back
which
up.
Is very au courant now, as you know.
I'm going to give you the background.
Okay.
The family living in the house. When we had the breakdown in society, crime started to become all over the
You're talking
area.
about a particular time frame?
1973 was the stock market crash.
There was one.
1975, Mayor Koch requested President Ford for financial help.
Oh, they had to be, and somebody said drop dead, didn't they?
And the Daily News has a headline, drop dead.
Yeah.
I've got all that data.
Yeah, right.
In turn, by then, 77, 78, it already in the neighborhoods was major problems with homelessness.
Yeah.
A neighbor was murdered. Then in turn, my own son walking into his own home,
Really?
the home that I'm living in now,
Yes.
had 2 kids that broke in. And if it had been the girls, they may have been raped. Because if you are a young lady with a body changing, a guy's going to jump on you if he can get away with
What's
it.
been going on with alarming regularity down through the ages, I think.
It's always been that way.
Well, I guess, maybe, I don't know.
But the point was
seems
that
to be in
that
the 20s.
turn,
It seems to go wild.
But that's what I ended up learning about and telling my ex-wife at the time, maybe it's time for moving.
And you're still in that house.
Well, no, she moved.
Oh,
and everything, she moved out of the house.
Okay.
Now the house is empty. I don't know it, but I go to visit thinking my children are there. And in turn, the pipes had broken and the place was flooded.
That's the same place you're living now?
Yeah.
Okay, it was flooded. And where was all this memorabilia that you collected in the years prior to that?
The material at the time was still on East 2nd Street, my parents' home.
That's it. Oh, it
My
was preserved
parents'
there. Okay.
That's where it was originally.
Yeah, okay. On East
Therefore-
2nd Street in Manhattan.
No, East 2nd Street in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn, okay.
And
Was it a brownstone-like, or there was
No,
room?
it was
Did you
a-
have an attic or something? Or?
we had a garage, an attic, a basement. I mean, it was a big brick house, a 2-family house that my father had created.
They used to have attics, yeah. They were great.
Yeah.
You could put stuff up there and go up there on a rainy Saturday afternoon, and the rain's coming down, and you could
Well,
just
my
records with Caruso and all whatnot and everything.
Well, basically,
We did then.
if you did that, then I'm only duplicating because the solar house has a solar attic.
It does. What does that mean? I'm sorry. Spell it out.
The whole roof of the building
Yeah.
has been designed so that when people complain about hot attics, I am taking the hot air and using it to make hot water, as other people have to build.
The hot air from the attic?
Yeah.
You are. How does that work? How does that? I'm sorry.
What you do is you take
yeah.
hot air and
Yeah.
you blow it through a radiator.
Yeah.
If the radiator is absorbing the heat
Yeah.
and the water in the radiator is getting hot, like the radiator of a car,
Yeah.
which is cooling a car's engine,
Yeah.
my area, I'm making water rather than cooling water.
Making
Hot water.
hot water.
Yeah, getting rid of the hot air in the attic.
I'll be damned. Really?
And it's a huge, huge operation.
Isn't that an
it's
idea?
a fortune.
Is that idea been picked up by the industrial
No,
world?
when you
large?
get people like me in the world,
Yeah.
you
will
share
you will
ideas
still-
with people.
Yeah.
But in the world that we're talking about,
Uh-huh.
most people talk.
Yeah.
I had the
Did.
opportunity with my background, moving my lighting company,
Yeah.
that is all the tools
Yes.
and everything.
Yes.
I moved it into the house after they abandoned it.
Yes.
So now we had a reason, the people in the business world that were with me, what are you going to do with the house? You can sell it to be money.
Oh.
And I said, I don't need money right now. I just need peace of mind. And then when the pipes had broke and the place was flooded, there was no discussion about what to do. It was just forget about it. Open the windows, get rid of the water. By that summer, the business people that I had as friends and acquaintances said, you know, President Carter involved with conservation and with solar energy.
Yes, right.
And
he put them up on the
and I had that background.
Yeah, right.
So
right.
they influenced me. Why don't we turn the building into a solar facility?
And from there you got the, okay.
So 1979 is when I got the crazy idea of
putting solar panels on the White House.
Of going and trying to get funding from government.
Okay, sure, it makes sense. You were way ahead of your curve, the curve, as we say, you know.
And the point is, the one thing I don't learn, and nobody's learned yet, if you're not connected with the government politically, with the politicians, with money, then you're nobody.
Well, you notice, you watch the news, I don't know if I watch the news or try to, you know, the major issue now, politically and all that kind of stuff and everything, what was it, 140,000 people were in the streets of Manhattan a couple of months ago, or a few months ago, for global warming.
Sure.
And singing the praises of solar energy. And you were singing and engineering the praises of solar energy and natural living in touch with the nature and that sort of thing. And the implication, it's the biggest issue that's roiling the planet now. You were a pioneer in terms of pointing the way.
I could point.
Can you see yourself that way?
I know what I am.
Oh, okay. I'm just trying to get you to see
I
it.
did it, but it wasn't me. It was me and a lot of people that are the elders of knowledge who created an energy society. We had about 380, maybe 400 companies manufacturing equipment.
Were you in touch with them and part of that growth and part of that industry?
I was on the podium talking to the audience
You
with
were
them.
to the major people that are involved in that.
I was one of the major players.
So you're like a Da Vinci or something. You're a leader of a direction that humanity is going, and you ought to be celebrated in the highest possible terms. Sorry, I don't know if
the fact remains,
if you're modest, but somebody ought to sing your praises, sir.
The people who do the singing don't have the connections to make the right people.
Well, that's
get
another
involved.
reason. Maybe we could try to do that if we do something. You got a lot of people who would be in your corner if they but knew what you were up to and have been up to, and would celebrate you and help you realize what you're trying to do.
There's a lot of people that know, but nobody. We're living in a society today where nobody gives a damn about other people.
Well, I'm not sure.
I'm not talking about one liking that. I'm talking about majority of the society is living in their own world.
They're all living in the only thing that motivates society, or 99%, is money. It seems.
Well,
it does seem that way, inordinately so, which is sort
money. And when you're an inventor, it's never money.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
Right.
It's a problem.
Right. And you're
an
inventor.
You know what it's like? If you could think of a guy or a gal that's mechanically creative, you call him or her an inventor. If they create a product that never existed.
Yes, Edison.
How about
electricity?
What about a woman when she ends up making a new kind of food? We call her a cook or we call her a gourmet chef.
Yes, right.
Isn't it interesting? We got a certain title when you're doing a creative thing, but if you're just feeding a bunch of people, you're just a cook.
Well, okay. So I'm
making money, you're a chef.
Yeah, if you're making money, then it's worth paying attention, because the only motivation seems to be, in the end, is money. Well, for the society, including the politics, no?
Okay, so how does an average woman that enjoys cooking and is good at it, how do you influence her to become a chef and make money running a restaurant?
Well, I don't know that you do, but I know we had a lady who took care of us, and she was the best cook in the history of the universe. So when I was a lad, I can remember it was really, really good, but I don't think she ever went into business.
No, well, because she enjoyed what she was doing, and nobody was around to motivate it to the next level.
Everybody's got a mother who can cook like crazy. They're there on Thanksgiving and all that kind of stuff. And everything.
That's why you asked me my background.
Yeah.
My skills, when I look at all the documents that my dad kept after he passed away, and then my mother passed away, I had the responsibility emptying their home.
Okay.
Now I got to get this place. In other words,
Let me ask you something.
You got a responsibility when
when you're moving, when somebody's moving, I think the big thing is the place you're moving into larger or smaller than the place from which you're coming. That's an important question. Was the place you were moving into larger, or able to be larger, or smaller than the place you're coming from?
Well, let's put it this way. I moved 2,500 square feet of business space.
Good grief.
Into 2 spaces, one of which was every inch in my parents' home that I could find without getting anyone yelling.
Yeah.
The garage, a basement.
And the attic? In the attic?
And the attic.
Yeah.
And including my own home on 53rd Street.
Filled them up, huh?
Well, 2,500 square feet of space is a lot of space.
That's a lot of space. It sure is, yeah.
And that's where the umbrellas are being manufactured, or the lighting equipment. We had over 82 or 92 different lighting fixtures.
My Lord, really? It's like a museum.
The spring-loaded pole.
It should be like, they got Greenfield Village, or they got, these things are the tribute to the entrepreneurial spirit and the people who've been the great people like that. And I think you should be in that category. With all due respect, that's what I think.
I'm not interested in the category. I'm interested in getting people to end up wanting to contact me in order to maybe want to get equipment. I'm giving stuff away.
Okay.
I've already given thousands of dollars.
Why don't we say here, because I don't think we have it up on here. How can people get in touch with you? How would you want people to get in touch with you, the people who are watching the program? Or maybe news people who want to do, maybe NBC wants to do a special across the nation about you or something. They want to get the producers over to get the contract signed and all those kind of things.
I found that ABC,
yes, good,
NBC,
good,
bought around 8 of my reflectors, because I found, you talk about those receipts from purchase orders.
Yeah.
I found them from way back in.
You got the proof.
Yeah.
That's a lawyer would like that. See, a lawyer,
I can't believe I didn't throw anything away.
You a pack rat? You are. Okay. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's called derisively, but I think that can be really good if you do it. Particularly if what you've been doing is really good, good work and creative stuff. I mean, it's sort of like Da Vinci, I would say, maybe. Okay.
If I didn't save this, if I didn't save Indira Gandhi's picture, that's here, I wouldn't have it to show you.
That's right.
So we're talking about something.
What do you think about Indira Gandhi's picture being up on an archive on the internet, so it's available to everybody to see at any time henceforth into the universe?
Why would they care?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's the point. I don't know whether people care about other people. I mean, there's the little picture of Johnson at the White House.
I can't see. Well, my glass.
We used it as a little
I see.
ad.
Yeah, and there's a camera. Yeah, a camera.
Yeah, but the point is, there was the other bigger pictures for the catalog.
Okay. Well, now listen. But you have this place in Brooklyn now. Okay, let's get to it. Is there some way that you would have people get in touch? Do you have an agent? Do you have somebody they could get in touch with in order to be in your corner, as it were, give some support, or do whatever it is that would be helpful to you?
There's 3 things that I need at the moment.
Okay.
A public relations representative.
PR. You need somebody to represent you.
Because all the ideas that go through my head, they have to be executed by someone making the phone calls.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I understand.
I'm old. My body is falling apart.
No, you look great.
Yeah, well, because I came cosmetically because I'm going to be on TV, so I fixed myself up.
You got all direct up?
Yeah. Otherwise,
no, but you look strong and everything. You got your demeanor, or your way is one of great strength. Is that one
Harold,
old?
To get from
you look like a 20-year-old.
To get from the train here.
Okay. No, we're going to compare.
Just from the train to here.
Right.
That's what, about 6 blocks you walk.
Yeah.
I stopped about every 20 or 30 feet.
To get your
rest? And people were coming and asking if I needed any help, because the pain is so intense that I get down on my knee.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You just get down.
I don't mean to pry into any arthritis.
It's just the spinal column is going.
Oh, your spinal, and the stenosis or something.
So,
you got.
I don't have the strength to carry the upper body weight anymore.
Okay, you look great. You understand? You
That's
look like
good.
a movie star.
Well, when you're thin and you keep yourself
you are thin. Yeah.
you always look
And
better.
you eat well. You've always eaten well.
I'm a
and
vegan, so
you
that
are,
helps.
have you always
yeah.
been vegan?
Maybe about 40 years.
Well, that's pretty long. That's another pace-setting thing. I think a lot of things are moving that way. But when did you get seriously? Your house out in Brooklyn now, let's say, it's a tribute to solar energy, among other things, right? You got solar panels and that sort of thing, and you're going to use, they call that passive energy? I'm not sure what there's terms, but it's
Passive energy is what I initially did by re-engineering the way the house is built to get all that extra sunlight coming in from the south windows.
Right.
In turn, when I went to the United Nations as a guest speaker,
yes, indeed,
it was about passive energy, but I then slowly worked into the discussion for 3/4 of an hour. They gave me the podium about cooking with the sun.
Right.
And
that could be applicable like in Africa and other places
that's where
around
it was.
the world. Yeah, right.
The delegates from Africa, and it was the Pan-African movement that recruited me to represent them at the UN.
Great idea.
And the reason was quite, to me, after the fact, well, it was humbling coming off the podium.
Yeah.
Because it was predominantly all African delegates. But they said that because of the solar house being so completely involved in a non-racial attitude, if you were concerned about solar, doesn't make any difference whether you're Orthodox Jew or Reformed Jew. It doesn't make any difference whether or not you're an Italian, white, black, or Latino.
Right.
You want the heat of the sun, and you have the intelligence to want to know how to use it. You have, therefore, the desire to go find a man that can talk to you about it.
Right, okay, right.
And so my home was open to anybody and everybody. And when the Pan-African movement knew about they were going to be given an opportunity to be lecturing, they researched in the city who was doing what.
And there you were.
And they found out that this white gentleman in Brooklyn, in a Caribbean neighborhood of color, was helping people and guiding them without being paid.
Yeah, right.
And it wasn't...
That sounds like it can't happen. That's impossible. Nothing like that can happen. The guy's got to have a big grant.
That's the point.
I
don't want government funding.
Yeah, I see,
I don't want them in my brains.
Yeah, right, okay.
I'm now, as an example, they claim I don't own my own home.
I know. I want to talk about that situation you're in immediate terms, because it says, I think there ought to be a big wave of support for you, sir. Let's spell it out. What's happening? You had a thing about a water meter or some damn thing.
The water meter, when the house had the pipes broke.
Yeah. At a winter time.
And there was no heat in the building.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, that happens.
What would normally a person do?
Well,
still have water in the pipes and you're not living there, so that you're going to gamble whether the pipes are going to break again?
I don't know. I don't know what the alternative would be if you're...
Wait, if you're not living there, do you need water?
Oh, well, if you're not living there, no, you don't need water.
No one was living there.
Okay.
They abandoned the house.
Who's they?
My family.
Oh, your family. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah.
And in abandoning the house, not knowing it, the pipes that had water in it froze.
They will in the winter.
That's how I became involved. When I went to visit, I realized that the house had been damaged.
Yes, by the weather. Yeah.
When I took the responsibility of the building, it was, what are you going to do with it? Well, initially, it's just a backup house. If I want, I got a place to go. But then after that...
You had another place.
I lived in one house.
Or you had the place on the other place?
East 2nd Street.
East 2nd, yeah, okay, right, okay.
So I'm living in one home, putting solar energy on that house.
There also, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know you'd done that.
And there we took an $1,800 fuel bill and brought it down to $700.
That's Mazel. That's great.
So she was a happy lady, meaning my mother.
Yeah,
because it was her home.
Yeah.
And therefore, people would come to her home to see the actual working equipment.
Yes, it's an example, yeah.
And then they would go to the solar house to see the research work that was going on.
Right, good.
And so between two buildings, a lot of people, 8,000 people, were learning about solar energy and conservation.
When did you get started, would you say, in your casting back? I mean, what year or when did you get this thing about solar energy? Maybe it goes
about
back.
1968 or thereabouts.
You were really
my
early.
Dad, my dad was dying and sick, and I wanted to end up giving him something to do. And so we took the back porch of my parents' home and enclosed it with corrugated metal for the roof of the patio. And the corrugated metal got hot.
Yes.
And it came into the porch. The porch itself merely had an enclosure.
Yes.
And my dad was able to go out and have his breakfast coffee and watch the squirrels in the snow.
Yeah.
So it wasn't what you'd call high-tech engineering.
You mean it was warmed?
Oh, yeah. I could take anyone's porch and enclose it in glass, and you'll end up getting 60 or 70.
Yeah. Right. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes.
So that's what we did.
You enclosed it in glass.
Yeah, well, not all of it, but on their home, it wasn't hardly enclosed in glass.
No, okay.
It was just the roof.
But it worked, yeah.
On my home on 53rd Street, it's predominantly the west and the south wall glass, and the north wall is 6 inches of insulated wall.
I see, yeah, the north, yeah, okay.
And the roof of that section is about 6 inches of fiberglass also. So you experiment from one concept to another concept. And then I was with the Solar Energy Society.
Good for you.
So I got my degree
and
there.
Back there, 68, and so in that period?
That was about 1980.
That's 80.
About 1980, because 81 is when the state of New York hired me.
Did you know the Lovins?
Yeah, Amory Lovins.
And his wife. What is her
well,
name?
they're out in the Midwest.
Yeah.
With that.
Were you in touch with them? And was the solar thing getting going then in '68 in any serious way? There was, I'm trying to say, it's coming on, or will be coming on like gangbusters now, if things go the way it looks like.
No,
they're
it was
going
gangbusters
to go.
then.
Okay, you think so?
Oh yeah, I know so.
I remember the Lovins.
I know.
Yeah, right. And
the fact is,
Whole Earth catalog. Did you read that?
Yeah, I've got all the original. I've got a library.
Oh, did you know Bucky Fuller?
Yes,
he's my hero.
I met him.
I did. I'm going to air a program. I would have aired a program when this is going to air next Thursday. On the Monday, I'm going to air a program on the day before this one's airing in the 11 o'clock slot with Bucky Fuller from 1974. He was wonderful. He was a wonderful leader in that. And then you had the Whole Earth catalog. All that. Yeah. Okay.
I remember those people.
Yeah.
When you sit and have coffee with them, when you talk with them, when they are throwing ideas back and forth, and you're just people with ideas. It's not bullshit. It's the real human beings.
Yes, right.
And
I know.
the people that hear about them, they talk. And when you are part of it, quietly in a corner interacting, you can't help but know you were living in a period with fantastic human beings.
Yeah, right.
They were warm. They were friendly. I think of an hour and a half sitting on the floor with Indira Gandhi, dining with her. She was out 2 feet away from me, and that's how we spent that whole damn day, just sitting and talking.
And that was inspirational to you?
It was inspirational because, first of all, I didn't know who she was.
And when you were doing it, you were just talking.
All I knew was it was an attractive lady with a gorgeous sari.
Oh, come on. You were coming, they would say, on?
No, I was a 17-year-old.
Oh, well, 17's been known to do that once in a while. I've heard a couple guys have done that.
Considering I'm a white man,
17,
and the only white man at the embassy in Washington, and all 70 or 80 other people are all of background of color, meaning they're either from Africa or they're from Asia.
We're all from Africa.
Yeah, I know, but the point is that my skin happens to be a lot different than most of them. It's white.
Yeah.
And therefore, when you're sitting there as an odd young man and a person comes over and says, "Who's you a guest of?"
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, Sashi Patel." "Oh, Mr. Patel. How do you know him?" That you get into a conversation.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you're having food, you're sitting, you're talking. And it's only when I'm going home at night with the whole crew that I went down to Washington with, and they're saying to me, "Do you know who you were sitting and talking with?" I said, "No, she was just an attractive-looking lady, and she was very friendly and warm." And I said, "Oh, that's Indira." That didn't impress me. Indira.
Yeah. Right.
That's Gandhi. Gandhi. You mean Mohammed Gandhi?
Yeah, right.
Well, the daughter,
Oh, yeah,
the daughter,
right,
daughter-in-law.
right,
She
right.
married.
Uh.
She married the son.
Uh-huh.
So Indira Gandhi.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what her
She was the
name-
head of India there.
Yeah, after he got
It was
assassinated.
terrible what happened to that division of that country. I mean, it was really something terrible. But anyway, so you're a pioneer, and you're aware of what's going on now with the solar stuff and everything.
When you think about solar today,
Yeah.
it's money. You got solar,
Well, that's what they're trying to get happening like that.
but
and
you don't make it.
But
you buy
it's
it.
becoming a political issue now.
But it wasn't that in the past. It was.
Well, I know. That's
a
what I say. I
recession.
should think, yes, I know, but yes, I understand that. But I would think you could take heart from the fact that this thing that you were involved in with all the excitement and all the pleasure and doing it for the pleasure and all that kind of stuff is coming into its own, where it's the major issue confronting mankind. Is solar energy.
I'll be very candid
and
with you.
making a break with fossil energy. That's the
Harold.
major issue informing the political process, internationally and nationally. And you're a leader of that.
Yeah, but when you look at the
Up on Mount Rushmore, we should have Johnson.
When you look at the undercurrent,
Jerome Johnson.
it's money.
Yeah, I know.
In the past, it was getting people off the street and keeping them busy. Can you imagine teenagers in the street learning how to use a propane torch, soldering pieces of metal onto pipe, and then painting with a spray can black, putting it up at an angle so that the sun would beat down on it. At the end of a day, at a street fair, there'd be kids taking hot showers.
Yeah, right.
Okay? Now, I have at my solar home equipment that high school kids made, Brooklyn College, Pratt Institute.
Pratt, yeah.
That's who I was involved in then.
Good for you, good for
It
you,
means
sir.
nothing. It means nothing.
What do you know? I don't think it's fair.
Because
for,
they don't give
I
a
don't
damn
think,
about what you did yesterday. They're only important until what you do
all right,
tomorrow.
let's narrow in on who they is.
The people
Who
in
is
these
they?
corporations that I'm talking
You're
about.
talking about the leaders of the system, right? Like that? You don't think so? They are being forced, sir, willy-nilly, whether they want to or not. I mean, they are being forced to focus on the thing that your life has been a focus of. The leaders are being forced to do that. The Keystone Pipeline didn't happen. They had 140,000 people marching down Central Park West for solar energy. Solar energy. They might as well have been singing Jerome Johnson and Company and everything. It is coming into its own now in a way
Why
that
do
I
you,
think.
Harold,
I mean, okay.
the people that were in the past,
Yeah.
the
Well, we've
brilliant,
both been in the past.
brilliant people that were
Yeah.
doing solar in the 80s.
Yeah.
How come nobody even thinks of chasing them down and putting a forum together to ask them what do they remember about that period? What did they accomplish?
I agree with you. Couldn't
And-
agree with you more.
and
I think
what
that ought to be
should have been
resurrected.
done?
That should be resurrected. One of the good places where they could, they'd have to find spots where. I wonder if there's any place in the country where there's some memorabilia of those days when there was really attention being given to the solar business that's so important, and it's more important than any other political or economic question on the planet. Probably could be picked up by a couple of entrepreneurial people who think they may make a buck at it or something like that. But I wonder where could there be any of those kind of things about the pioneers, the Da Vinci's that set the tone for all of this, the Edisons and so forth. And I'm telling you, they got this house out in Brooklyn that would be a good place to begin. There ought to be attention given to all of that and the things that you're saying and all your stuff. And I don't like to hear that you're being treated badly by a lot of people in bureaucratic positions. If I understand your situation, I think we ought to get to that, if we can. Your immediate situation.
Let me explain something to you. In 2006,
yes, sir.
the first lien, they were going to auction.
Who's they now? The City of New York?
City of New York.
Okay.
The fact is that in 2000, when I moved into 436, I didn't live there.
Okay.
So in 2000, I moved in because my mother had died and her home was sold.
Okay.
So now I got to move.
Yeah, right.
I move, and now that I'm legally a resident of a piece of property, I automatically call up the finance department and tell them I'm now living in this building. what do I need to get my taxes reduced? Because it's only when you are a resident can you get your taxes reduced.
Oh, is that right?
You can't be
even
an
if you're an
absentee,
absentee owner, you have to
cannot.
pay higher taxes?
You cannot be an absentee tenant, owner, and get taxes reduced.
Oh, and you wanted to get the taxes reduced in order to be able to live and make the...
Try to do what I was going to do.
what you have to do, yeah, okay.
So I sent them 12 years of my military background. I was activated for Korea.
You had 12 years of military?
Yeah. Well, you see,
you're like an American hero, for God's sake.
Get these politicians to know about it.
Yeah. Well, I would love to.
Now, the question I ask you...
Did you get an honorable discharge?
Very honorable. Yes.
Yes. Son of a gun.
So guess what?
Yeah.
You're in the military for 12 years. You get an honorable discharge.
Yeah.
You end up having certain things you accomplish that are... You're appreciated, in other words.
You ought to be
But you
as
are.
a pioneer.
You see, when you're
I
in the
respect
military,
that.
I don't look for the big piece of paper on the wall from the government. It's the guy that I'm working with, my buddy, the guy that's covering my back. Now, I didn't have a gun. I was a photographer.
Good for
but
you.
But I had the officers and the pilots.
Yeah.
I was always available.
That Second War, you were in the Second War or Korea
It was
War?
the Korean War.
Korea, it would be Korea. Yeah, you're not that. Yeah, right,
So,
okay.
If I wanted to get pictures, all I had to do was to call up the captain and say, hey, I got some ideas.
Yeah.
Oh, get so-and-so on the phone. Tell them to get a pack, your parachute.
Thank you for your service, sir.
And all you do is you get up on a plane and start going where you want to go.
Yes.
We weren't in combat, so we had all of that time to get flight time to get skills.
So we left you trying to get a tax rebate or something with the local bureau, and we've only got about 10 minutes left.
Good.
So let's zero in on people that are giving, I'm going to use the vernacular if you don't mind, the street language.
Go ahead.
They're giving you a hard time. I'd like to know what they're trying to say, what's going
They've
on,
already done
and what can we do to help you and your situation.
I don't think anyone...
Or what, outside of letting people know. Something about a meter or something. There was something about a water meter or something, and you didn't have any, you got your own?
The first thing is that they were ignoring the discharge papers. They were ignoring ownership of the house. They were ignoring my Social Security income. They were ignoring everything I was writing to them that they requested, and I gave it to them. I wasn't getting responses.
Why do you think?
Don't ask me.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, you don't know. Okay.
All you know is that you do what you're told in this great America. Notice I put my body on the line for this friggin' country.
Yes.
And I say friggin' country because it's nowhere what it is. It was a democracy when I was a kid growing up.
Well, okay.
It's more like a damn...
bureaucracy.
It's not even a bureaucracy anymore.
Autocracy, would you say?
It's
all the
fascist
fascists
country.
Could be that way.
They're running
all
the
all the
country.
wealth is owned by a tiny
Therefore, it's fascism.
concentrated
That's right.
concentration. Yeah.
And the fascists are running it, and as long as you control something, you give your buddy and your favors to those people that are giving you something back.
Okay.
I did not work in a system. I worked out of the system.
That's right. You were.
That's what makes
you were
me creative.
Yeah, that's right. Now, it's not. Is it unpatriotic to be really creative in helping humanity?
That's what it seems to be.
You can't be good. You can't. It's not patriotic to be good. You have to be tricky.
You've got
full of avarice.
You got to kiss behind.
Yes.
In this country today.
Okay.
And when you are an independent thinker.
Yeah. Oh no,
you
I don't think that's allowed. That's
you really do that.
1984 time, maybe, you know, or Brave New World or something.
1980, we were already the guys that were making Bucky Fuller domes.
Yeah.
In the 70s and the 60s.
I know, they're all over the place.
So
they were
why
great.
were they all of a sudden so important? The generations I'm talking about were tired of the way things were going.
Yeah, right.
They were rebelling. And so
I was rebelling.
I was part of that young crowd.
So was I too. I'm still rebelling or trying to, you know.
Then the only way
Aren't you? You still got a rebellious streak in you, sir.
No, if I lose the house,
it's
I
gonna
don't
be
have a
right.
roof
Well,
what do I do if I don't have a roof over my
you
head?
got to have a roof over your head to protect all that. Not only that, you should be celebrated. Now, what is it that they're laying at you? Something about assessments. They're giving you tax things. You owe them a lot, and
I owe them about
$90,000.
$90,000.
What are they claiming? Is it good claim or is it baloney or what? What's the reality?
No, the fact is that
lay it out.
in a system that we have today,
yes, sir.
when you end up having a bill that you don't accept, in a corporate world, you normally, by not paying the bill, the corporation has a department, and they usually call you up and say,
we no longer will give you that service.
no, they say you got a bill. They tell you the bill, and you say, I didn't buy it. And they say, excuse me, we got a bill. Then send me a copy when I signed for it. Guess what? In the business world, they do it.
Well,
they don't hustle you.
Well, I don't understand. You get something. You get a bill. You pay.
If I went to Macy's and I bought something,
you bought a suit.
Then damn it, you're going to show me, if I haven't paid the bill, that it was my signature on it, not that somebody grabbed my card and signed my name and forged it to get something.
So you think that did happen in your case?
Oh, I know it happened.
Other people signed for something in your name, and you're trying to have your assets or your things seized because somebody else did something in your name.
A water meter.
Yes. Okay.
Plumber. In order to get paid, would have to end up having a work card signed by the homeowner after they do an installation.
Okay, you like come in and put in a boiler or something, yeah.
Well, you're going to sign for it, right?
Yeah, right. I guess so.
You're not going to end up accepting a bill if you haven't signed for it.
Well, yeah, right.
I mean, you want it in your house, not in someone else's house.
That's true.
So you want proof that it was your house that they put it in.
Yeah, that goes without saying, but yes. Go and spell it out. Yeah.
The point is, if they claimed a water meter was in my building, they did it and had the serial number.
A serial number of a meter. Was the meter in your building?
No.
There was no meter there?
No.
Literally, no meter?
No. Why would I even lie about it? It was to my advantage. If I had a water meter, I'd be proving, with the house being a conservation center, that we were only using a little bit of water compared to somebody else. So
well, wait a minute, they were trying to bill you for a meter that for water, and you didn't even have the meter? The meter didn't exist in your home?
And they were lying.
No, but is that the fact?
This is called withholding fraudulent evidence.
On whose part? On their part.
Yeah, on their part. They knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing. You've got a government that knows how to get around corners.
Okay, yeah.
And when you know eventually, as I found out, the New York Times in 1990 did a 4-month expose of the water meter installations and found out that water meters were not all over installed.
Really?
Yeah. In writing.
But they're charging for it all over the place.
Excuse me, we're not talking about charging. We're talking about the lying expose that proved there were no water meters in certain places installed.
So they make an estimate or something, or how do they deal with that?
They claim they got a serial number. They
write it down. A serial number for something that doesn't exist.
Right. And once you got
Isn't that fraud?
I just got done telling you it was fraud.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just saying it seems obvious any lawyer would.
The point is that they knew what they're doing. Because if you got 630,000 homes, and every borough, let's say, has got a lot of houses.
They do.
And you end up only making an extra $5 every 3 months with allegations of consumption.
Yeah.
Not proven. Because the meters are not being read. You see, we were told they were being read.
And you didn't even have one.
We're not even talking about me anymore. We're talking about the city of New York.
Okay. Because this is wider spread.
They installed meters and then didn't even prove that they were installed. And that's how they found out after the fact that there were homes that did not have meters. Yet, on the records, it indicated a meter.
And yours did not have a meter?
No.
Yeah, and they had a record. So
and they have a record claiming that there's a meter.
And
my letters are saying it's not here. Somewhere it is. And now, tell me something. Think about this, Harold. How do they end up wanting to resolve a problem? I told you in the business world, they want to end up solving it, right? In the city, they send an investigator.
Yeah.
So the investigator comes in, he goes downstairs, he sees all the barrels with the water, rainwater.
Well, you collected rainwater. Yeah.
That's how I was collecting rainwater.
Okay.
And the building is a solar center.
Yeah.
The building was not being lived in yet.
Uh-huh.
And I'm using a building to show people all the different things you can do, the hundreds of different things on a window you can do, all the different kinds of insulation.
All good solar energy stuff. Yeah, okay. Or, yeah.
Anything to do with a building that you call conservation or
Yeah.
solar.
Yeah, good for you, yeah.
It wasn't me. It was an organization that I formed.
Right.
It's,
Now
I
they're
find
coming
it-
at you with a suit or something, or they're wanting you to have to pay them a lot of money or something, or they're going to foreclose, or where does it stand? We only got about 2 minutes left. Let's get it down to the number.
Intern simply. My phone number is 347-451-0829.
Say it again slow.
347-451-0829.
Okay, you got it here. I hope we put it up at the end, but go ahead. yeah.
Anybody that is listening and considers what's going on, I've got all the facts, all the evidence, and attorneys don't want to touch it
Why?
because they don't want to fight with City Hall and they don't bite the hand that feeds it.
They're in on the game.
They're part of it, and I've got documentation of that as well.
Uh-huh.
I'm the whistleblower that they are trying to shut down. I know damn well what's going on. I've got people inside
And what are
government.
they threatening in terms
Well,
of
they're
action
telling
against
me.
you? To eviction or seizing, or
They
what are
already
they?
sold the house.
They sold the house.
They've sold the house. I got other people owning it.
So you're still there,
But
and
in another month, I will be gone.
oh my God!
They have
really?
me in court, and the minute the judge says goodbye, it's over.
And that you mean that is coming to a head, that case, right? Like that?
Yeah.
And if you got people in your corner, you don't have legal representation at all?
Not a single
from any
one.
of the solar energy
I've been
people
to-
or anything? Is that?
There is no such thing as solar energy people that give a damn.
Unfortunately, if that's the case, because I'll tell you, it's a huge issue. It seems to me there would be a whole lot of people who might be able to pick up your case and go with it and see the significance of it historically. And again, you are a pioneer in what is the major thing roiling and informing the political of the country and the world.
Let me
it's
leave-
a major issue. One problem is in television, Jerome, we run out of time. We have no more time.
And that's what life is. You
Yeah.
run out of time.
Okay, well, listen,
Take care.
thanks.
Thank you
And
for
you should
being
get in
here.
touch with this young man, whoever's out there that can do it, and follow up. We should have some follow-up to support this man, it would seem to me. And he's a genuine pioneer and hero. And I would just recommend him to one and all. Thank you for viewing. Thank you, Jerome, for leading such a well-led life, young man.
I'm appreciative of that.
And for all